Liam Hayes adjusted the controls of his small salvage ship, the Aurora, as it drifted through the asteroid belt. Dust and rock fragments floated around like frozen sparks in the pale light of a distant star. For most pilots, this sector was too dangerous, full of hidden debris and rogue fragments that could shred even the strongest hull. But Liam had flown these fields for years. He trusted his instincts, his hands moving on autopilot, scanning for anything worth salvaging. A warning light blinked on the console, signaling a small anomaly nearby. Liam frowned. "Another rock," he muttered. He engaged the scanners, sweeping the area for signatures. It wasn't a rock. Something or someone was drifting in the void. A small vessel, battered and smoking, barely holding itself together. Its metal hull had deep gashes, and thin streams of vapor escaped like a wounded animal's breath. Liam hesitated. He had enough cargo and could ignore it, leave it for someone else. Rules, contracts, survival, they all whispered to him to stay away. But another instinct spoke louder. If someone was out there, they might not survive long. And Liam had never been one to leave someone to die, no matter the risk. He activated his ship's tractor beam, carefully maneuvering closer. The small vessel rocked violently, responding to the pull of the tractor beam. Liam fought to keep the Aurora steady, beads of sweat forming on his forehead as he stabilized the trembling hull. Then through the cracked viewport he saw her. She was slumped against the controls, motionless. Her suit was torn in several places, revealing pale skin under streaks of dirt and blood. Her hair, a deep shade of silver, floated around her like fine mist in zero gravity. Liam's heart thudded. "Hang on," he said, more to himself than to her. "You're coming home." Using the emergency docking clamps, he secured her ship to the Aurora and floated over, tethering himself carefully. Inside, the smell of burned circuits and scorched metal filled the cabin. The ship's lights flickered weakly, casting a dim glow on her still form. Liam knelt beside her, checking for life signs. The readings were weak, barely detectable, but she was alive. "I've got you," he whispered. He ripped a piece of cloth from his shirt and pressed it to a wound on her arm, doing his best to stop the bleeding. Her breathing was shallow, each exhale sounding like a whisper in the quiet cabin. Liam's hands worked quickly, stabilizing her as he accessed his medical kit. Injecting stimulants to help her regain consciousness, he murmured encouragements. "Come on, just a little more." Slowly, her eyes fluttered open. They were striking, a pale shade of violet, and for a moment Liam was lost in them. She tried to speak but coughed instead, weak and hoarse. "You saved me," she whispered, barely audible. Her voice had a melodic, commanding tone, as if she was used to being obeyed. Liam only nodded, offering her a small smile. "Yeah, that's what I do." She tried to move, wincing in pain, and Liam gently pushed her back. "Easy, you're hurt. You need to rest." She glared at him briefly, as if surprised by his insistence, but said nothing. Liam could feel the weight of her gaze, strange and intense. There was something unusual about her, something that went beyond her injuries or the strange markings on her suit. But he didn't have time to ponder it. Survival came first. With careful movements, he carried her to a secure compartment in the Aurora, laying her on the cot. The ship's medical bay was small, barely enough for basic treatment, but it would have to do. Liam set up monitors, hooked her to the med sensors, and checked her vitals. Her heart was racing, adrenaline and shock coursing through her. Slowly, the readings stabilized. "You're lucky," Liam said softly. "Most wouldn't have made it this far." She blinked, her lips twitching as if she wanted to speak, then stopped. Finally, after a long pause, she said, "Thank you, stranger." There was no hesitation in her voice, only sincerity. Liam shrugged. "Don't mention it. Someone had to do it. Besides, I don't leave people to die if I can help it." She studied him for a moment, curiosity and something else in her eyes. Liam couldn't place it. He had met many people across the colonies, smugglers, traders, pilots, and even the occasional rogue noble. but there was something about her that didn't fit any category he knew. There was an air of authority around her, subtle but undeniable, like she carried the weight of worlds on her shoulders. Yet she was vulnerable now, and he was the one holding her life in his hands. The following hours passed quietly. Liam worked tirelessly, repairing not just her physical wounds but the ship itself. He was curious about her, asking simple questions, though she answered vaguely. She mentioned fleeing a dangerous situation, but nothing specific. Her tales sounded believable, yet he felt there were layers beneath her words he could not reach. During a break, he floated beside the viewport, watching the asteroid field drift past. "You know," he said, more to himself, "most people would have left you. Lucky for you, I don't play it safe all the time." She didn't answer, but her eyes lingered on him. Liam sensed recognition, as if she knew he was extraordinary, though he didn't see it that way. To him, he was just doing what any human would, helping another in need, trusting his instincts, relying on his wit and courage. Days passed. Liam shared food rations with her, helped her regain strength, and kept the ship running smoothly. Each day she seemed less fragile, her posture more confident, her gaze sharper. She began speaking more, asking questions about him, about humans, about his life. Liam told her stories of the colonies, of distant planets, of hardships and moments of triumph. He spoke openly, unaware of how extraordinary his resilience, his morality, and his ingenuity appeared to her. He was ordinary in his eyes, yet extraordinary in ways she had rarely seen. One evening, as the artificial sun in the ship's dome dimmed, Liam looked at her, noticing how she moved with a grace that was almost otherworldly. "You're not from around here, are you?" he asked, curiosity breaking the silence. She smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the faint starlight. "No," she said softly, "I'm from far away." Her words were careful, almost cryptic, and Liam didn't press further. He didn't need to know, not yet. Their bond grew slowly. Liam's care and protection had created a fragile trust. She began to show small gestures of warmth, sharing what little she had, offering insights into navigation and technology, and even smiling genuinely when Liam cracked a joke. Liam, for his part, found himself inspired by her resilience. Despite everything she had endured, she never gave up. She adapted, strategized, and observed everything with sharp eyes, quietly testing the limits of his patience and skill. But Liam never failed. Every challenge she presented, every subtle test, he passed with calm reasoning and courage. Yet the biggest danger wasn't the stars, or the pirates they narrowly avoided, or even the mechanical failures they faced. It was the truth, hidden, immense, and almost unbearable. Arya Valira, the woman Liam had rescued, was no ordinary traveler. She ruled a galaxy-spanning empire. Her wealth eclipsed the greatest fortunes of any known civilization. Her decisions shaped entire worlds. Her word commanded loyalty and fear across light years. And Liam, in all his human simplicity, had no idea that he had saved the most powerful woman alive. One day, as they drifted through a relatively quiet sector, the ship's scanners picked up a small convoy approaching fast. Liam's hand instinctively moved to the control panel, preparing defensive measures. The ships weren't marked with any faction he recognized. They carried no insignia, professional, precise, and deadly. Liam frowned. "Looks like trouble," he muttered. He turned to her. "Stay behind me." She nodded, calm, trusting him fully. Liam didn't understand why, but he didn't question it. Survival required focus. The convoy hailed them, demanding surrender. Liam refused, maneuvering the Aurora with skillful precision, dodging blasts of energy that would have shredded a lesser ship. Arya assisted him, offering navigational advice, but did not take the controls. Instead, she observed, analyzing every movement, every decision. Liam realized that her guidance was uncanny, precise, and strangely insightful, almost as if she already knew the outcome, which, in hindsight, he should have considered odd, but he didn't. He was human, relying on instincts, courage, and intellect to survive. The attack ended not with destruction but with the convoy withdrawing, baffled by Liam's resourcefulness. Arya looked at him, her expression unreadable. "You are remarkable," she said simply. Liam shrugged, a little embarrassed. "Just did what needed doing." For the first time, Liam wondered if this woman was more than she appeared. There was a calmness about her, an awareness that suggested she had faced far greater dangers than he could imagine. Yet she relied on him, trusted him, and allowed herself to be vulnerable in a way that made him feel extraordinary, though he barely understood why. As night fell in the artificial dome, Liam leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. "You're going to make it," he said softly, more to himself than to her. She didn't respond immediately, only gazed out the viewport at the distant stars. Then she spoke, almost a whisper. "I owe you more than you can know." Liam only nodded, unaware of the immense truth behind her words. He didn't know that this simple act of kindness, saving a woman from a drifting ship, would soon change the course of the galaxy, intertwining human courage with the fate of worlds. For now, all he knew was that she was alive, and he had done what he believed any human would. He had helped someone in need. And in that small ship, drifting through the silent, cold expanse of space, humanity's greatest strength, its courage, compassion, and ingenuity, was quietly shining through, unbeknownst to him, to the richest, most powerful being in the galaxy. The Aurora drifted through a narrow asteroid corridor, the quiet hum of the engines the only sound in the cabin. Liam had barely slept. He sat at the navigation console, scanning for safe routes, while Arya leaned against the viewport, her silver hair catching the faint light of distant stars. She looked better now, stronger, more composed, but there was still a tension in her posture that Liam couldn't ignore. "You're thinking too much," Arya said quietly, breaking the silence. "About what?" Liam asked, glancing at her. She didn't answer immediately, only watched the asteroids drift past. Finally, she said, "About danger, about what could happen. You carry it in your chest, even when nothing has arrived yet." Liam frowned. "It's called caution, keeps me alive." She tilted her head, studying him. "Or keeps you from realizing how extraordinary you are." He laughed softly. "Extraordinary? I'm just a guy trying not to die." She smiled faintly, but the seriousness returned quickly. "You do not understand. In your world, survival is instinct. In mine, it is much more." Liam shook his head. He didn't question her cryptic words. He was beginning to realize that whatever she was, it wasn't ordinary. Days passed, and their journey became more than just a flight through space. It became a test, though Liam didn't know it yet. Arya asked questions that seemed casual at first, but they probed his judgment, his courage, his character. She would place him in difficult situations, like repairing a hull breach in near-zero gravity while meteoroids whipped past, or facing a rogue scout ship with only minimal tools and improvisation. Each time, Liam acted decisively, relying on instinct and ingenuity rather than technology or brute force. During one such encounter, a scout ship belonging to a notorious pirate clan ambushed them. The ship was small but fast, equipped with plasma cannons designed to shred anything in seconds. Liam barely had time to react. He activated the shields and maneuvered through the asteroid field, dodging blasts while trying to predict the enemy's path. Arya's voice cut through the comms, calm and precise. "Left 30 degrees, now roll 90. Hold." Liam followed her instructions instinctively. The ship moved like a living creature, twisting, dodging, spiraling through space. The pirate ship fired again, missing narrowly as the Aurora slid behind an asteroid. Liam's hands moved swiftly, launching a countermeasure drone that disabled the enemy ship's navigation system. The pirate vessel spun out of control, colliding with debris and exploding in a brilliant burst of fire. Liam let out a long breath, heart hammering. "You," Arya said, her voice almost a whisper. "You are not like any human I have observed before." Liam shook his head, trying to catch his breath. I just do what I have to do, that's it. She studied him quietly, her violet eyes unreadable. He didn't know that she was analyzing him for more than survival. She was seeing the human qualities that had made their species exceptional: courage, ingenuity, morality, and resilience under pressure. For the first time since they met, Liam noticed a change in Arya. She no longer moved only as a passenger or observer. She contributed in subtle ways, guiding him with careful suggestions, revealing knowledge of technology far beyond anything he had ever seen. She did not take control, but her guidance saved his life more than once. One evening, Liam repaired the ship's damaged hull while Arya monitored the external scanners. "Why didn't you just use your ship's weapons to fight them?" she asked. Liam shrugged. "I don't know, something about thinking first, surviving second. I don't always need to fight to win." She nodded, a shadow of a smile crossing her face. "You are remarkable, even more than you realize." Liam shook his head, tired, focusing on the welding task. "I'm just human," he said. "We do what we have to do." Arya said nothing, but she thought about him in ways she had rarely allowed herself to think. Across her empire, humans were considered unpredictable, chaotic, often inferior. Yet here was one who faced impossible odds, who solved problems without reliance on power, money, or armies. Here was one who did not hesitate to risk his life for another, and did so without expectation of reward. She felt a strange pull, something she had never felt in her long life ruling billions of beings. Their journey took them to a small, abandoned space station orbiting a dying planet. Liam needed to gather supplies and repair the Aurora. The station was old, barely functional, and crawling with automated defense drones still active after decades of neglect. Liam's instincts kicked in immediately. He moved carefully, scanning the corridors, disabling drones before they could react. Arya followed silently, her presence a calming force beside him, even as her sharp eyes monitored every detail. In the command center, Liam found a cache of old energy cells and repair kits. As he worked, Arya approached the central console. Her fingers moved over the alien interface with precision, accessing information about the station and nearby systems. Liam watched her, fascinated. "You know this place pretty well," he said casually. She looked at him and smiled faintly. "I observe, I learn." You will find that knowledge is always useful. While they were inside, an unexpected alarm triggered. The station's defense systems had activated fully and drones swarmed from every direction. Liam gritted his teeth. Of course, nothing ever goes easy. Arya moved beside him. "Trust me," she said calmly. "We can do this." They fought their way through the station together. Liam improvised traps, hacked systems, and dodged attacks, while Arya provided critical insights, guiding him to weak points and shortcuts. Every action Liam took was instinctual, precise, and courageous. For a moment, he realized how strange it felt, working alongside someone who didn't need his help but trusted him completely. By the time they reached the station's escape pods, Liam was covered in scratches and bruises, exhausted yet triumphant. "Not bad," Arya said, her eyes shining with a mixture of admiration and something deeper. Liam laughed, wiping sweat from his brow. "We survived. That's what counts." Later, as they drifted back into open space, Liam noticed that Arya's demeanor had changed. She was quieter, thoughtful, and often watched him with an intensity he could not understand. One night, she finally spoke. "Liam, there is something you do not know about me, something I have not told anyone." He frowned, curious but cautious. "You mean like secrets?" She nodded slowly. "Yes, secrets that could change how you see everything, but you have earned a right to know in part." Liam leaned back, listening. "Okay, I'm intrigued. Just a little warning, I'm not easily scared." She smiled faintly. "I do not intend to scare you. I intend to show you truth." Her voice was calm, almost hypnotic. She began to describe her life in careful, indirect terms. Worlds she governed, challenges she faced, decisions that affected billions. Liam's eyes widened. You run entire planets, that's insane, she nodded. More than planets, entire systems, entire civilizations. But do not let that impress or frighten you. That is not why I am telling you. I am telling you because you have shown qualities that even those born to rule cannot teach themselves. Liam shook his head, stunned. I'm just me. I don't even know how to respond. Arya studied him closely. And that is what makes you extraordinary. Humanity, you possess courage, ingenuity, morality, and compassion in ways that machines, armies, and wealth cannot replace. You are exceptional. The weight of her words settled on him. He had never been praised for anything more than skill or luck. And here, in the quiet of space, a being who ruled billions told him he was extraordinary simply for being human. For the next several days, they continued traveling, but the dynamic had shifted. Liam acted with his usual skill, improvisation, and courage, while Arya observed more quietly, sometimes offering subtle guidance. She allowed him to face challenges, to make choices, to prove his abilities, and each time he succeeded. Whether navigating asteroid storms, repairing critical systems under pressure, or negotiating encounters with hostile traders, Liam's human traits, courage, morality, and ingenuity, shone brighter than any advanced technology could. And slowly, Arya began to trust him completely. She shared fragments of information about her empire, carefully choosing what to reveal. She told him of her responsibilities, the weight of her decisions, and the enemies she faced, but still concealed her full identity. Liam listened, fascinated, but also focused on survival and helping her. He did not realize that his ordinary actions were rewriting what she thought she knew about humanity. Then, as they approached a habitable moon near the edge of controlled space, the real test came. A faction loyal to Arya's enemies had detected her presence and sent a fleet to capture her. Liam realized the danger immediately. "We're outnumbered," he said, scanning the approaching ships. Arya remained calm, her face unreadable. "Yes," she said softly. "And yet the outcome is not fixed. It is up to you." Liam felt a surge of determination. "Up to me. Then let's make sure it ends well." Using every tool, skill, and bit of ingenuity he possessed, he maneuvered the Aurora through the enemy formation, exploiting weaknesses and improvising solutions on the fly. He set traps, feints, and diversions, relying on instinct as much as technology. Arya provided subtle guidance, but it was Liam's quick thinking and courage that carried them through. By the time the fleet retreated, Liam was exhausted but triumphant. Arya turned to him, her violet eyes shining. You have proven yourself beyond any expectation, not just to me but to the universe." Liam shook his head, breathing heavily. "I just did what I had to do," she smiled, a rare, genuine expression. "And that is what makes you human and extraordinary." As they drifted above the moon's surface, Liam stared at the stars, trying to process everything. He still did not fully understand her identity, her wealth, or her power. But he realized something important. Despite the enormity of her universe, she had trusted him, relied on him, and allowed him to protect her. And in doing so, he had shown the best of what humanity could be. Unseen by Liam, Arya considered the next steps carefully. The human in front of her had passed every test, faced every danger, and demonstrated qualities that no army, weapon, or wealth could match. She would reveal the truth soon, but only when the time was right. For now, she allowed him to be human, to be courageous, and to continue proving that humanity, in its simplest form, was capable of greatness beyond imagining. The Aurora hovered above the pale surface of the habitable moon, its engines humming softly against the backdrop of stars. Liam sat in the cockpit, exhausted but alert. His hands rested on the controls, scanning for potential threats, while Arya stood beside the viewport, her eyes reflecting the faint glow of the distant suns. The silence between them was different now, heavier, filled with anticipation, and yet strangely comforting. "You've been quiet," Liam said after a moment, breaking the silence. "Thinking about the next repair or the next danger," Arya turned to him, her violet eyes calm yet intense. "I am thinking about truth," she said softly. "The truth you have yet to understand." Liam frowned. "Truth? You mean about your past or something else?" She shook her head. "More than that, about me, about everything you assumed." Liam sat back unsure. He had survived asteroid storms, pirate attacks, and abandoned stations, but he sensed that the challenge ahead was of a different kind. It wasn't about survival. It was about understanding, about realizing the magnitude of what he had been part of without even knowing it. "Then tell me," he said, meeting her gaze. "I can handle it." She studied him carefully, as if measuring the depth of his courage, and then finally spoke. "I am Arya Valira. I am not merely a traveler or a survivor or a fugitive from a distant colony. I rule the Valyrian Empire. I am the sovereign of hundreds of star systems, the wealthiest being alive and the leader of billions." For a moment, Liam did not speak. He stared at her, trying to process the words. His mind raced. "Wait, you're what?" "You're saying you're a queen, the ruler of the entire galaxy," Arya nodded. "More than a queen, my word shapes worlds, my decisions affect billions. And you saved me without knowing who I was." Liam leaned back, his hands trembling slightly. He had faced death countless times, but nothing had prepared him for this revelation. I just helped someone in need," he said finally. "That's all. I didn't think about who you were. I just acted." Arya's expression softened. "And that is exactly why you are extraordinary. Your humanity, your courage, your morality, your ingenuity has saved me in ways that armies, technology, and wealth could not. You acted not for reward, not for status, but because it was right." Liam swallowed hard, realizing the truth in her words. He had never thought of himself as heroic or special. To him, he had only done what any human would do. Yet here, in the presence of the galaxy's most powerful ruler, his simple acts carried unimaginable weight. The moment was interrupted by the hum of approaching ships. Scouts loyal to Arya's rivals had detected her presence and were closing in fast. Liam sprang into action, his mind instantly calculating tactics and maneuvers. Arya moved beside him, calm and composed, offering precise advice. "Use the gravity wells of the moon," she instructed. "They will disrupt their formation. You can lead them away before they realize." Liam nodded, his hands steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Got it. Let's see if my human instincts can outsmart a fleet." He maneuvered the Aurora with skill born of years in hostile space, dodging plasma blasts, weaving through debris, and setting traps with impromptu devices. Arya's guidance was subtle but invaluable, her knowledge of galactic strategy complementing Liam's raw human ingenuity. By the time the enemy fleet retreated, confused and damaged, Liam was panting, his body trembling from the effort. Arya turned to him, her expression unreadable for a moment, then softened. You have proven yourself beyond any expectation," she said. "Not just to me, but to all who observe humanity. You are more than I imagined." Liam shook his head, laughing weakly. "I just did what I had to do, nothing more." Arya studied him for a long moment, her eyes reflecting admiration and something deeper, almost awe. "Nothing more. No, that is the extraordinary part. You did not seek glory, power, or recognition. You acted with courage and honor. That is why you are worthy of standing beside me." Liam blinked, trying to absorb her words. "Worthy? Standing beside you? I don't understand." She walked closer, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. "You will understand in time. For now, know this. Your actions have saved lives, preserved my empire, and proven the best of humanity. That is more valuable than any technology, weapon, or treasure in the galaxy." As they prepared to enter the heart of Arya's empire, Liam marveled at the scale of what he was about to witness. Massive space stations, fleets of starships, and bustling planetary systems stretched as far as he could see. Civilization on a scale he had never imagined thrived under Arya's guidance, yet it all felt fragile and precious, held together by careful decisions and the lives of countless individuals. And here he was, a human who had been judged ordinary by his own kind, now recognized as a savior and partner by the galaxy's most powerful leader. They docked at Arya's central station, a colossal structure orbiting a vibrant blue star. Liam followed her through vast corridors filled with beings from hundreds of worlds, all bowing or saluting as she passed. He realized with growing amazement that every eye was on her, and now on him. Whispers spread quickly. The human who had saved Arya Valera had arrived, and everyone knew that his deeds had altered the course of events in ways few could comprehend. Arya led him to the Grand Council chamber, a place where the most important decisions of her empire were made. Dignitaries from countless star systems were present, their faces serious yet curious. Arya turned to Liam, her expression resolute. "This is your moment," she said, "not because I command it, but because you have earned it. Stand as you are and be recognized for what you have done." Liam stepped forward, heart pounding. He had faced danger and death countless times, but this was unlike anything he had imagined. He felt small, ordinary, yet Arya's gaze reminded him of the truth. It was not size, power, or wealth that mattered. It was courage, morality, and ingenuity. He had these in abundance, and now the galaxy would see them as well. Arya addressed the council, her voice strong and clear. "Behold the human who saved me, who acted with bravery, intelligence, and honor beyond measure. He is a symbol of what humanity can achieve, resilience, courage, and morality that surpass even the most advanced civilizations." The council murmured, stunned. Liam's actions had already been extraordinary, but now they were being acknowledged by the leaders of billions. Liam looked around, overwhelmed but proud. He had never sought recognition, yet here it was, not because he wanted it, but because he had earned it through his simple humanity. Arya smiled at him, her eyes shining. "You are not a subject of this empire. You are a partner, a friend, and a protector. Humanity has proven itself, and you have proven yourself." As the council honored him, Liam realized that everything he had believed about power, wealth, and importance was incomplete. True strength came not from titles or riches, but from actions, character, and heart. And in that moment, he understood the full meaning of Arya's words. Humanity, in its simplest form, could achieve greatness that even the richest and most powerful could not match. After the ceremony, Arya led him to her private quarters. The room overlooked an entire star system, the beauty of planets, moons, and space stations spread before them. Liam stared in awe, taking in the view, then looked at her. "I still can't believe this," he said. "All this, and you trusted me, let me help you without knowing who I was." Arya smiled softly. "Because trust is earned, not commanded, and you earned it with your actions, not your words. That is why humans are remarkable. You act from morality and courage, not obligation or fear." Liam shook his head, still in disbelief. "I'm just a pilot, a salvage guy, nothing special." Arya reached out, placing her hand over his. "You are extraordinary. You are a human who embodies the best of your species. You are proof that humanity can rise above expectation, challenge the impossible, and shape the future of a galaxy. And you will continue to do so, as my equal." For the first time, Liam felt the weight of his own significance. He was not just a survivor or a helper. He was a symbol, a representation of what humanity could achieve. And he had earned it, not through ambition or cunning, but through courage, morality, and the simple act of helping someone in need. Days later, Liam stood on the observation deck of Arya's station, watching fleets prepare for missions, seeing planets being supplied and protected. He felt a sense of awe, but also purpose. Arya had shown him the galaxy, but she had also shown him something more important, that humans, ordinary in the eyes of others, could accomplish extraordinary things, and he had proven it. Arya approached, standing beside him. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "I understand that humans are capable of greatness, and I understand that you embody it," Liam nodded. "I still don't feel like I deserve this." Arya smiled. "It is not about deserving, it is about being. You are human, you are courageous, you are moral. That is enough to change the course of a galaxy." Liam looked out at the stars, realizing the truth in her words. He had acted simply because it was right, and in doing so, he had become something greater than he could have imagined. The richest queen in the galaxy had entrusted her life to him, and in return, humanity's potential had been recognized on a scale he had never dreamed possible. For the first time, he understood that heroism was not about titles, wealth, or power. It was about action, integrity, and courage. And in that realization, Liam felt a pride and purpose deeper than anything he had known. Humanity had proven itself, and he was living proof. Arya turned to him, her gaze soft yet resolute. "Together, we will face what comes next. The galaxy is vast and its challenges are many. But with you beside me, human, I am confident. Not because of power or wealth, but because of courage, morality, and ingenuity, qualities that only you possess." Liam smiled, feeling a quiet strength within him. "Then let's do it. Let's face it together." Arya nodded. And together they looked out at the stars, ready to shape the future of a galaxy that had no idea how extraordinary humanity truly was.